Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to share my first time baking a loaf of bread with you today. We are also going to chat a little bit about my life and the things that are coming up, but right now let's focus on the baking. Here we have all the ingredients that you need to make a beautiful, fast, mixed rye bread. You will need 525 grams of wheat flour, 225 grams of rye flour, 11 grams of dry yeast, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, and 525 milliliters of lukewarm water. You will also need a cast iron pot like this Dutch oven. It's pretty heavy and can therefore evenly distribute the heat to perfectly bake your loaf of bread. It is also amazing for stews and roasts and really anything that calls for a long cook time. Also, very important, your water should be at room temperature, which is at around 35 degrees Celsius, and that is 95 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe. So this is very important to activate the yeast. Alright, so first things first, you're going to combine the dry yeast and sugar and slowly add your water. Stir very well to avoid clumps and then just let the mixture sit for around 5 minutes. In the meantime, preheat your oven to around 50 degrees Celsius and 112 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your yeast mixture has activated, slowly add it to the dry ingredients. Incorporate it well and then start kneading your dough for a couple of minutes. I would recommend 2 to 5 minutes. And then cover the dough with a kitchen towel and let it rise in the oven for around 20 to 30 minutes. So this week I'm starting a new job. It's a traineeship at a production company here in my city. It's a production firm that mainly focuses on TV productions and formats that are non-fiction and non-scripted, so more like a documentary style format. But yeah, I'll be working behind the camera for the first time in my life. If you're new to this channel, if you don't know me yet, I'm an actress. I studied acting at a film university here in Germany, and I just recently, well, 3 years ago, finished my studies and my bachelor's degree, and things didn't go as planned. At the time that I graduated, the pandemic started, so there were a bunch of lockdowns, no jobs available for young people like me. In these 3 years until now, I slowly but surely grew into this feeling of I can't do this anymore. Not that I don't want to be an actress and that I don't want to work in front of the camera, but I just cannot do the business side of my job. I, for myself, am pretty content with my work, my talent, my skills, and my professionalism. I know that whatever set I'm on or whatever theater I'm working in, I'm doing my best and I'm giving enough to satisfy everybody involved. I know that I do good work, and I've never really struggled with myself or not feeling confident enough in my skills and in my talent. I don't take my roles home. It's not like, you know, the actual acting part that is my bread and butter is hard to me. That's not the case. But the business side of it, even getting to the point where you're casted for something is so out of your hands. It is astonishing how little autonomy you actually have in this field of work, because you're so dependent on everybody else's decisions. You cannot make decisions for yourself. Well, you can. You can obviously start your own projects and create your own movies, your own scripts, write your own scripts, then get people on board to make your own movies. But I don't feel ready to create a whole ass movie. Maybe in the future, but right now that's just not where I'm at. And for somebody like me, I'm so dependent on even getting a casting that I have to send that casting back to casting directors. They make a decision off of whatever standards that they apply. And most of the time it's not really my talent or how well I actually played the part. It's more about my looks or how well I fit into the production, how good I would look next to a co-star, or even how influential I am to a certain audience. And for me, this is where I decided that I cannot go on like this for much longer, waiting and waiting on another job and sitting around and feeling awful about myself and my life and feeling like I'm not moving forward in my career because my mental health simply cannot take it. Let's say I'm not strong enough to take this constant fluctuation of super high highs and super low lows, and most of the time I'm sitting in the lows and am desperately, waiting and praying for the next job. Not just financially, but also mentally. This is draining. And so I decided to just try out something completely new that is still in, my field of expertise, and I send out a bunch of applications to different firms. At first it was more in the marketing area because I thought marketing might be interesting. I also just recently did an online course on marketing that I'm finishing just now to become an online marketing manager. But I also then applied to this production company and it worked out, and now I'm starting a traineeship this Wednesday, and it's very exciting. I'm just nervous to meet my new colleagues, see what the work is going to be like, because this is going to be a full-time job, but I'm honestly really excited about it. I'm excited about having a routine in my day and just getting up at a certain time, getting home at a certain time, and grooving into an everyday routine, because I do think that this is what I'm craving right now. I'm craving stability. Woo! Now that your dough has risen in the oven, it is finally time to form a loaf. The great thing about this bread is you really don't need any skill or precision to make this work. I mean, I made it work on my first try. Simply just fold the dough into itself for around 10 to 15 times until a round little loaf has formed. For me, this went really well. The whole process of forming the loaf, it was looking amazing until I let it sit for a little too long on my countertop to preheat my Dutch oven. So please learn from my mistakes and put that pot in the oven before forming the loaf. Otherwise, it will probably flatten out again and not hold its shape very well, so it will be a big blob of dough and not look as pretty. Here we are again, waiting for my bread to bake. It's in the oven for an hour now. Right now it should be like 30 minutes left or something. I'm excited to see how it comes out, even though I know I went wrong in a couple of steps. I mean, we'll see. It's my first bread, so I can't be too hard on myself, even though I always am too hard on myself. The problem with me is that I'm not only a perfectionist, but also I'm very impatient. I always want to learn new things. Like, I want to learn how to make bread, I want to learn how to knit, or crochet, paint, whatever it really is, any creative task that you could possibly think of, I've probably tried before, but after some time, I just quit because I don't improve the way that I want to improve, and I set expectations that are way too high. And this is my first time making bread, but in my head it comes out perfect, or at least comes out in a way that is presentable and enjoyable to eat, but I'm not sure how it's gonna go. And that's totally fine. I should be okay with failing at my first try and failing maybe the second or third or fourth time until I get it right, you know? Same with my espresso machine. I think I am seeing improvements, but it's crazy because one day will be almost perfect and the next day it's like I've never done it before. That's the thing with working on your skills, is you have to be patient. Nothing just falls from the sky. You're not all of a sudden gonna wake up and be the best baker in the world. You're gonna have to practice. You're gonna have to put the work and the time and the hours into it to improve. But oftentimes we don't give ourselves the space to actually develop a skill because we have this goal set in our minds that in that amount of time it has to be perfect. Otherwise, there's no reason to go on any further because clearly we're not improving. But that's just not true. It's not true. Oh, I'm impressed. This actually smells really good, looks pretty good. I mean, this is clearly bread. That's a huge accomplishment already. Has a very nice crust. I did take the lid off for a couple of minutes right before the time was up so it could brown a little more on top. Definitely that's a good thing in my eyes. I wasn't supposed to, the recipe didn't call for that, but I did whatever I wanted to do. And it looks really nice. It's also still very hot, so I do need to let it cool off. I'm gonna go to the gym right now, and then later when I come back, we can actually eat this and try out if it's soft or hard or dry inside. We'll see. And the cat is also very excited. You wanna see the bread? You wanna see the bread? Look, that's the bread. Does it smell good? Oh, no. Okay. Gonna let you sit there until later. And there you have it. This was my first attempt at baking bread. I'm very proud of the outcome, honestly. I'm going to experiment in the future with baking different breads. I want to make sourdough bread so bad because I've seen it everywhere. I actually already bought like a pre-made sourdough from an organic food store nearby. But then I read a recipe and it called for 10 to 14 hours of preparations. And so I was like, maybe I should start out with something that's a little more attainable. I would say this was the perfect beginner bread. It was super simple. It was pretty fast. Took around 2.5 hours to make. So I recommend this to everybody who also wants to get into baking bread. Practice on this one first. So now I want to say thank you for watching. We're going to see what happens in the future if I keep posting every week, which I don't think is going to be possible because I'm working a full-time job right now and I kind of have to figure out how to balance my life again. So posting every 2 weeks is probably more realistic, but I'm going to do my best. I'm definitely going to keep up with this channel because I love it and I love you. So thank you for watching and I'll see you very soon.